My name is Betty Knowles. I've been married for 8 years, and we have a 7-year-old daughter, Alexandra. Alexandra is so adorable that it feels like I could hold her forever, but she is a bit of a clumsy, ditzy child. My husband runs a restaurant, cooking for customers every day. His parents are quite wealthy and provided the capital for the restaurant. Since our child is still young, my main job is managing the books. From the outside, we probably look like a happy family. However, unfortunately, my husband is prone to infidelity. Over the past 8 years, he's cheated on me several times, causing me much distress. One of the women was a waitress at his restaurant. That time, because it was someone working at the restaurant, the affair quickly came to light, and she was fired. A year has passed since then, and there's been no sign of him cheating. In truth, living in constant suspicion of my husband's infidelity was exhausting. Now that things have calmed down, the mental fatigue has significantly lessened. I was praying that this peace would last forever. But then, the day came when my husband's affair was exposed. It all started with something Alexandra said.
Mommy, I've locked everything up tight.
A few days before, Alexandra had asked to visit her grandparents.
Mommy, I want to see Grandpa and Grandma.
My in-laws are wonderful people, and not only do they adore their granddaughter, but they also treat me like their own daughter. So, I didn't mind going to visit them, but I had been busy with our daughter, the restaurant, and the house, and hadn't had time to go. Yes, it's been a while. Let's go visit. Their house isn't far, less than an hour's drive. I knew we should visit more often, considering how close it is, but reality doesn't always allow for that. When I told my husband about Alexandra's request,
Yeah, we should visit the folks. Let's all go and stay overnight on my day off from the restaurant.
and so, we decided to go as a family. That day, I went to the restaurant after closing time, having prepared to head out. The lights in the hall were off, with only the kitchen lights still on. I looked for my husband, but he wasn't there. Oh, Daddy's not here. I searched everywhere, but it's a small restaurant. There aren't many places to hide. I checked the office, but he wasn't there either, so I assumed he had left. The kitchen is clean, he was definitely planning to leave. I thought about calling him, so I dialed his phone, but it didn't connect. Oh right, he keeps his phone on silent while working. That's probably why.
Where did Daddy go?
That's right, we're supposed to be going to Grandpa's today. Did he forget?
Did he really forget?
I don't know, but Daddy is forgetful, you know?
Daddy's no good, is he?
The way she said it was like she was mimicking me, and I couldn't help but smile.
Mommy, let's go ahead without him. If we leave a note, Daddy will know.
Wanting to see her grandparents as soon as possible, Alexandra made the suggestion. It made sense. It was already past 10 p.m., and we didn't want to keep my in-laws waiting any longer. Plus, it was past my little daughter's bedtime, which wasn't good for her. You're right. Maybe he had something to do and left before we arrived. Still, the word affair floated through my mind. Is he cheating with another woman again? Forgetting his promise to his daughter is so unlike him. If that's the case, he won't be coming back here. But then why did he leave the lights on? Worry began to build up, and doubts about my husband's behavior kept growing. Are we going through this again? It's so exhausting. Enough already. But I couldn't let my daughter see my anxiety. I didn't want to cause any pain to my young child. So, I forced myself to sound cheerful. You're right. He'll probably come later. Let's go. Let's lock up the restaurant.
Yeah. I'll help with the locking up.
After we finished locking everything, including turning off the kitchen lights, I got into the car with my daughter. Meanwhile, my husband was in the basement. The basement is accessed from the kitchen and is used as a storage area, where the temperature is always kept low. It serves as a kind of walk-in fridge, making it cold enough that staying there for too long would chill you to the bone. However, you can work there for an hour or so without any problems. Thinking he was working down there, I checked, but he wasn't in the basement. What was happening was far worse. He was hiding with a woman, embracing her in secret. While my daughter and I were searching for him, the two were quietly waiting for us to leave.
They've gone.
Phew, my heart was racing. I thought your wife would catch us again.
Don't worry. They're heading to my parents' house. Now we can relax.
The woman clung to him excitedly, ready to continue their affair. However, feeling the cold, she stopped him.
Wait. Since your wife isn't coming back, let's go into the warm restaurant. It's too cold to stay here in the fridge.
Yeah, you're right.
They decided to leave the basement, but when they tried to open the door, it wouldn't budge. Of course, it wouldn't, because Alexandra had said.
I've locked everything up tight.
That included locking the basement door.
The door won't open.
What? Why not?
It looks like we've been locked in.
What? How are we going to get out?
We can't. The door can only be unlocked from the outside.
You mean we're stuck here all night?
Not just all night. The restaurant's closed tomorrow too.
Until the day after tomorrow? You've got to be kidding.
That's how it is.
This is ridiculous. Can't we scream for help or something?
No one's here to hear us.
What do we do? Staying here until the day after tomorrow, we'll freeze.
I know.
Call the police. They'll help us.
Even if we call, the door is locked. Do you think they'll break in?
They'll probably call the fire department, and a rescue team will come.
That would cause a big scene.
That's better than freezing in here.
No way. If we do that, my wife will find out. She'll be furious again.
Isn't staying alive more important than being scolded?
Let's call someone from the restaurant.
Who?
Brian. He has the keys. He can help us.
No, not Brian.
Why not?
Because I'm seeing him too. If he finds out, He'll know I've been cheating.
What? You're dating Brian too?
Well, you're married, but Brian is single, so I could marry him.
Unbelievable.
So Brian is a no-go.
Then what do we do?
Wait, someone's here.
What?
They listened carefully. There were sounds of someone moving in the kitchen, and they could hear muttering.
Let's call for help. They can hear us from the kitchen.
The two exchanged glances. Meanwhile, unaware of all this, I had returned to the restaurant to grab something I had forgotten. Oh, I was in such a rush. I left the important account books behind.
Mommy, you're so clumsy.
I know, right? We had only just started driving when I realized I'd forgotten the books, so I turned back. But once again, there was no sign of my husband. I called my in-laws, but it didn't seem like he had arrived there either. Feeling puzzled, I filled a cup with water for my thirsty daughter and handed it to her.
No way.
Enough! Someone, open the door. Help me. I'm trapped in here. Help me.
That voice. It's the affair partner from that time. It's June, the waitress, isn't it? I unlocked the door and quietly opened it. Inside, I found June, who looked cold but was desperately shouting. And my husband, with disheveled clothes. Ah. It was clear they were in the middle of something.
Betty.
Help me.
I closed the door again.
Betty! Open up! Why are you closing it?
Yes. If you leave us like this, we'll die. Hurry up and open it.
Betty, you seem to be misunderstanding something, but this isn't what you think. So please open the door.
Where's the misunderstanding? With clothes that messy, how can he say it's a misunderstanding? So, he was cheating again. In shock, I covered my face with both hands, but my daughter called out to me.
Mom, are you okay?
His face looked worried. I can't let her see this. I have to be strong. Could you go over there for a bit?
What about Dad? He's in there, right?
Yes, that's right. I'm going to talk to Dad, so please wait over there.
Okay. I understand.
After confirming that Alexandra was sitting on a chair in the kitchen, I opened the basement door. What misunderstanding are you talking about?
That's because you think I'm cheating on you, right?
Can you really say this isn't a cheating scene with clothes looking like that? It looks exactly like they were in the middle of it.
No, that's not true. Look, I didn't even pull my pants down.
Not yet.
Yeah. Just because clothes are a bit messy doesn't mean it's a big deal after a day, right?
Do you get messy like that in such cold conditions?
I move around a lot, so of course, it gets messy. That's not the point. It's cold. Let me out of here.
If it's cold, why were you two here together? Plus, June was fired, right? Why is she here when she's not even an employee anymore?
That's because.
That's because,
I left something behind.
yeah. She said she left something behind, so we came to get it.
June was fired a year ago, right? So why now, after all this time? And why come at such a time? Why would she come when only the manager is here?
That can happen sometimes. We broke up, so it just happened that we were together.
I really can't believe that.
That's just the way it is.
When I looked here earlier, there was no one, right? So how did you end up here?
You left.
You knew I left? So you were indeed here? The lock can't be locked from the inside, can it? In other words, you and June were hiding here?
I came after your wife left. Then I found out the manager was trapped inside, so I opened the door for him. But then I got trapped too.
Who trapped you? I already said, it can't be locked from the inside. That means it can only be locked from the outside. So it doesn't make sense that you came later and tried to help this person.
That was just a coincidence. The door happened to lock.
That's too much to bear.
Sure, I was with her. But so what? We just happened to go in together because we had something to do.
If you had something to do, why hide? Shouldn't it be something you can explain?
That's.
You were hiding because you had something to hide, right? Plus, you were supposed to go to your family's house today, so you should have anticipated that I would arrive soon. That's why you were in the basement together. Isn't that right?
That's. I think it's about perspective, isn't it? If you think badly, you can interpret it that way.
Stop joking. How many times has this happened? How many times do you need to cheat? And to go back to an ex after breaking up?
Don't you think this is unavoidable? It happens between men and women.
That's ridiculous. I had a promise with our daughter today, and you're breaking that promise.
I wasn't trying to break any promises. I was just going to have a bit of fun with her before heading to my family's place.
That's what breaking a promise means. You could have just kept your promise with our daughter without doing this.
That's why it's unavoidable. I just felt like it. Besides, if she came when I was alone, it felt like a chance.
June, what about you? Why did you come here at such a time?
That's because the manager called me.
Hey, don't say that.
Why was he calling you?
No, that's not it. This is a lie. I didn't call her.
The manager said it was okay to enjoy today because you'd be going to your family's house first with your wife and daughter. So I thought I'd come.
So, you never intended to go to your family's house from the beginning?
That's not true.
You said we could relax and enjoy since the shop would be closed tomorrow.
You! No, that's really not the case. Which words are you going to believe? Me or this slut?
A slut? You're the dirty old man here.
Hey, June. This isn't the time for that, is it?
You were the one who said it first, right? I was just called. If anything, I'm the victim. Even a year ago, the manager made a pass at me. And in the end, I got fired, but the manager is at fault too. It's not good to only trust your husband.
Betty, believe me! I was just seduced by this woman. Please, I didn't do anything.
You did do something, didn't you? You were definitely doing it here.
No, that's not true. It's too cold to undress here.
That's why we were supposed to take it to a warm place. But then your wife came back. That's the truth.
That's not true. June, don't make up stories.
Which one of us is making up stories?
That's enough. Reflect on what you've done.
Betty, wait. If you leave me here, I'll freeze to death. If that happens, you'll be the one who killed us. Please, just let me out. I really didn't do anything.
Not only did you do something, but you're also caught red-handed. Stop making a fool of me. You need to cool your head. Saying that, I closed the door again and locked it. Thinking they would be saved, the two of them started shouting again.
It's winter. We can't spend a night in a place like this.
I told you I'd freeze to death in a place like this. Why don't you understand, you bitch?
You two are in love. Why don't you keep each other warm? Isn't that an easy task?
Betty, were you such a heartless woman? Just because I had a little affair, you do this? It's too much.
The two of them shouted for me to open the door, calling me heartless.
It's Dad's fault. Mom is always crying, and Dad doesn't know. I know. Dad's an idiot.
Surprisingly, my daughter, who had been sitting in the kitchen, pushed past me and stood in front of the door, yelling like that. Faced with his daughter's anger, my husband fell silent. Alexandra, weren't you in the kitchen?
I was worried about Mom, so I kept watching.
How sweet he is. Even this little child is worried about me, while my husband, whom I married and thought I loved, doesn't care about me at all.
Hey! Let me out already. If I freeze to death here, I'll curse you. Hurry up and open it. Open it. You old hag.
June's remarks became even worse, turning into unbearable behavior. Thinking I couldn't let this go on, I decided to call my in-laws. I quickly called my in-laws and explained the situation, and they came right away. When they arrived and saw me sitting in the kitchen, shocked and unable to move, my father-in-law spoke firmly.
Hey, you take Alexandra and go back home. I'll handle this fool.
Understood. What about Betty?
It's unfortunate, but it's a marital issue. She'll just have to bear with it a little longer.
All right.
With that, my mother-in-law took Alexandra, who was standing by my side, and got into the car to head back to the in-laws' house. Once the sound of the engine faded away, my father-in-law dragged my husband and June out of the basement.
What the hell is going on here?
Once inside the warm kitchen, both of them, shaking, slumped into chairs.
Dad, you saved me. If you hadn't come, I might have been a goner.
What nonsense. You idiot.
But Betty locked us up. What kind of horrible woman does that?
And whose fault is that? You two were fooling around in the basement. And isn't this woman the same one who used to mess around with you before? She was a waitress at this restaurant, wasn't she? What's she doing here now?
I was called by the manager. He said today would be a good time to have some fun.
So, you just come running whenever you're called, like a tramp? How rude. If someone calls me, of course I think they need something. I thought it was important, so I came. You came because you wanted to have fun, didn't you? You just said that.
Well, but the manager did invite me.
No, Dad. I was just sitting alone, and this woman showed up. She said it would be fine since I was by myself. If she hadn't said that, I wouldn't have betrayed Betty.
You're unbelievable. You were the one who made the first move.
You're the one who seduced me.
The manager said it was safe today.
All I said was that I was alone.
Enough. It doesn't matter who said what. The fact remains that you were cheating. But Dad, I had already decided not to betray Betty anymore. This woman tempted me, so it's her fault, isn't it?
I wouldn't have come if I hadn't been called.
You two are hopeless. I didn't fund this restaurant for nonsense like this.
I know, but…
Wait, what? Fund the restaurant? The manager said he built this place on his own. He claimed it was entirely his.
That's not true. This restaurant was 100% funded by my father-in-law. Without his backing, it wouldn't exist.
So, the manager was lying the whole time? He doesn't actually own it?
In simple terms, yes.
You're kidding me. He told me he put all the money into this place and had full control. Now you're telling me he has zero ownership?
So, he was putting on airs, huh?
But it's still my restaurant, right?
Yes, it's for you. But if I say it's done, it's done.
That's ridiculous.
What happens when the investor asks for their money back?
But, Dad, you wouldn't do that, right?
Who knows? With what you've been doing in this restaurant, hurting Betty again and again, I'm not inclined to be lenient. Betty has already endured so much. It's time to put an end to this.
What do you mean by that?
Betty, you've put up with a lot, but this nonsense is making Alexandra suffer too. Don't you think it's time to let this idiot go? Perhaps he's better suited to that woman over there.
What?
Dad. What are you saying?
Yeah, exactly. I have a boyfriend, you know. I'd never seriously get involved with a cheating man like this. Besides, he's not even the owner. Why would I be interested in a guy like him?
Ah, so you only care about men with money. If they don't have any, you're not interested.
I'm not serious about this woman either. I just wanted a little fun while staying with Betty. That's my idea of loyalty.
That's your idea of loyalty?
Yeah, that's right.
Get a grip. What do you say, Betty?
I want a divorce.
Betty!
I'm just so tired. I was starting to feel a little relieved, thinking you'd stopped cheating this past year. But deep down, I was always worried. And now it's clear. You haven't changed. I can't live with that anxiety anymore.
Good. I support the divorce.
Dad.
And you're out of the restaurant.
What? Why?
You've caused Betty enough pain. You're leaving. It's only fair.
If I leave, this place will fall apart. It'll go under immediately.
Don't worry about the restaurant. I'll find another chef just as capable as you. Money can fix that.
Then what about me?
Do whatever you want. Find another woman, or be with this one. But you won't hurt Betty again. And don't expect my help.
You can't do this. Without your financial support, I'm nothing. I can't do anything on my own.
That's your problem. Betty, I'll get a lawyer for the divorce paperwork. Be ready.
Okay.
What about me, Dad? Aren't you going to even hear my side? Betty's not even your real daughter, and you're treating her better than your own son.
You're the one being divorced. Your opinion doesn't matter here.
This is a marital issue. You have no right to interfere.
Think about your actions. This is the natural outcome. And from now on, Betty is the CEO of the restaurant.
What?
As long as we have a good chef, the restaurant will thrive. Alexandra will stay with his grandmother if needed. She'll be delighted to play with her grandson every day.
This is too much. Why are you making all the decisions?
Because it's not your restaurant. I told you, the investor's voice comes first. And frankly, Betty is far more capable than you've ever been.
This is cruel.
That's life. Now, here's what you'll do. You'll pay alimony and child support. If you can't afford it, borrow the money and pay it all at once. That's the responsibility of a man who's hurt his wife.
That's a lot of money. If I pay that, I'll go bankrupt.
That's the price for your actions.
Even to your own son? Betty, are you really going to divorce me? Won't you give us another chance?
If I stay with you, I'll always be scared you'll cheat again. Divorce is the only option.
Fine. Do whatever you want. June, you'll be with me, right? No more sneaking around. We can do whatever we want now.
Ha! You must be joking. I only wanted you because you were someone else's husband. I have a boyfriend, remember? There's no way I'd be with a guy like you. You're not even the owner of this place. Plus, you just got dumped. Why would I pick you up?
You're unbelievable.
In the end, my ex-husband, burdened with debt from the alimony and child support, was cast out of the restaurant and had nowhere to go. He tried to beg his mother for help, but she too cut him off, saying she wanted nothing to do with such a foolish son. Having lost both the restaurant and his parents' support, he was left unable to do anything on his own. He eventually tried to cry to June, asking her to live with him, but of course, she had no real interest in him. He remained alone. He found a cheap apartment and managed to get a job washing dishes, but it was a miserable existence. He sent me messages of apology, hoping to rekindle something between us, but his intentions were obvious, so I blocked him. As for me, I've been working at the restaurant every day, leaving my daughter with my in-laws. I never imagined I'd end up as the CEO, but I'm enjoying life now. How did you like this story? Don't forget to subscribe if you want to know more.